Okay, so previously in the previous day we have talked about the operational amplifier, brief introduction of the operational amplifier, and today I am going to repeat all this concept and going forward about this operational amplifier course. Okay, so operational amplifier, as the term implies, that operational amplifier is composed of two terms. First one is your operational and second one is your amplifier. Now all of you know about the amplifier. So amplifier is nothing but a device which can amplify the signal given it its input. That means it is a black box. So whatever signal given it is inputs, amplifier actually amplifies the strength of the signal, okay, without distorting its shape. So that is the primary function of the amplifier. So that is also applicable in the case of the operational amplifier, because it's composed of amplifier, different stages of amplifier. And the operational actually means it can perform different mathematical operation. Mathematical operation means addition, subtraction, multiplication, um, different log operation. Okay, that logarithm amplifier can be made. So that is the different mathematical operation can be performed with the help of this amplifier. So these two actually composely called as operational amplifier. Okay, so that is the meaning of the name operational amplifier. The next we will discuss the this diagram. Now this diagram is nothing but a simple, you can say, internal diagram of the operational amplifier. Simple internal diagram, not the actual internal diagram. So in the case of the operational amplifier, there is two input. So one is non-inverting input, another one is inverting input. Now these two input are the input to the operational amplifier. Now we can say operational amplifier can be think of like this triangular shape box. Okay, so here you can see there is two input, non-inverting input and the inverting input, and this difference between these two input is actually falling onto the input of the op amp. And this is a dependent voltage source. Okay, obviously a dependent voltage source, and the gain of the op amp is A. Okay, so the difference between the voltage, that is going to be amplified by the with the help of this operational amplifier. Okay, and this Zin is nothing but input resistance of the amplifier. Whenever we talked about the, this is actually nothing but a voltage amplifier. Okay, this is a voltage amplifier. So whatever properties of the voltage amplifier, that also applied in the operational amplifier also. So any, whenever we want to draw the equivalent circuit diagram of an amplifier, then we know that there is an input signal, there is an input resistance, there is an gain of the operational amplifier, that is here in this composed of a dependent voltage source. Okay, so this is a dependent voltage source, and this is Z out. Z out is nothing but output resistance of the amplifier. So this is a very simple circuit diagram of a simple amplifier. So if you want to draw the voltage amplifier, current amplifier, trans conductance amplifier, trans resistance amplifier, then you have to draw the input resistance, output resistance, gain of the amplifier. All of this property can be applied here also. So this is voltage amplifier. So the input resistance of the voltage amplifier, property of the input resistance, of the range of the input resistance, that also be applied here, and the range of the output resistance is also applied here. So this is a simple circuit, equivalent circuit diagram of the amplifier, that is, and here is the output can be taken here, and this V supply, positive V supply and the negative V supply, these two are called the biasing to the operational amplifier. So in the inside the operational amplifier, I am telling you, if you want to know, this is the equivalent amplifier circuit diagram, but this is not the actual circuit diagram of the operational amplifier. So inside the operational amplifier, there is a lots of transistor is there, and these lots of transistor is fabricated within a very small area, and that small chip is called the integrated circuit chip. Okay, so this is nothing but a chip which has 8 pin, and most generally used operational amplifier is 741, that all of you know. Okay, so that is a simple introduction of the operational amplifier, how the diagram is actually look like and its different properties. Okay, now you can see the diagram clearly. This is the input, this is one input, this is input resistance, this is output resistance, and this is a dependent source. This is nothing but a equivalent circuit diagram, equivalent circuit diagram of a amplifier. One way of representation, equivalent circuit diagram of amplifier, nothing more than that. Okay, because it is an amplifier, that's why first we have approximated this operational amplifier, or try to draw or try to understand the operational amplifier with the help of a amplifier model. And the amplifier model looks exactly like this, and this is a voltage amplifier. I have initially said that this is a voltage amplifier, so all of the properties of the voltage amplifier can be applied here. Okay, so that is all about this diagram. Next we move on to this diagram. So this is the block diagram. Now inside this block, so this is your non-inverting input, this is your inverting input, this is the input stage, this is the intermediate stage, this is the level shifting stage, this is the output stage. All of the stages has this different property, and why these have been applied, these are the different meaning that I am going to explain. Okay, so in the input stage, the property of the input stage is that initially I am said that inside the operational amplifier there is nothing but the mode lakhs of transistor, millions and billions of transistor is residing inside the chip. So inside the operational amplifier, the actual circuit diagram, this is not the actual circuit diagram, this is the equivalent circuit diagram representation of the op amp. Whenever we try to understand the operational amplifier in context or in light of a amplifier model, then we must understand this model. Okay, this is a model, not the diagram. Okay. Now inside the operational amplifier, how the different components are interconnected, if you want to know the actual interconnection of the circuit and what are the different stages employed inside the operational amplifier, then you must understand this diagram. So this is the block diagram. So inside this block there is lots of transistors there, transistorized circuit. Okay, so this is the input stage. The input stage is a amplifier, first stage of amplification performed here. So this is the non-inverting input, this is the inverting input. So there is two input and also there is two output is there. Okay, now in this stage, the input stage is called the dual input balanced output differential amplifier. Input stage, the input stage is called dual input, okay, balanced output. Now what do you mean by the dual input balanced output stage? So dual input balanced output has its own meaning. That means dual input means there is two inputs, so that's why dual input. So whenever we have, this is nothing but a differential amplifier stage. Differential amplifier we will discuss this later, but for this time being you just understand there is a differential amplifier is there. Now the simplified differential amplifier circuit actually look like this. So this is a one transistor is there, and there is another transistor is there, and both the transistor is connected like this, and this is one input, this is another input. So this is collector, the output is also taken from the collector. So this is one output, and this is second output. So balanced output means, so this is the one output, this is the another output. So balanced output means if you want to take the output between these two terminal, later we will see the actual diagram also. So just in this context, just understand the balanced output. Dual input, you know the term dual input because there is two input is there, and balanced output means if you want to take the output between these two terminal, then it is called the balanced output. That's why the term actually said input stage is called dual input balanced output stage. Okay, and next this intermediate stage. Okay, this intermediate stage actually called dual input unbalanced output stage. Why unbalanced output stage? Dual input means you can see there is also two input. What this two input means, the output of these two goes into the input of the second stage. Okay, so that's why there is two input is there. So in the intermediate stage, okay, so in the intermediate stage there is dual input and unbalanced output. Unbalanced output means, what do you mean by the unbalanced output? Dual input is own meaning, there is one output, you can see there is one output, but in the previous case there is two output, you can easily identify, okay, from this diagram. So I'm just removing this. Okay, so if we again draw this collector terminal, there is, and if you want to take any one of this output, if you take any one of this output, then it is called the unbalanced output. So there is two input is there in the second stage, there is also two input. This two input is coming from the output of the previous stage. The output of the previous stage becomes the input of the second stage. So, and in the second stage, what we are taking, the output from the one terminal. So that's why this is not the balanced output, this is called unbalanced output. Okay, so that is the meaning of the balanced output, and this is the meaning of the unbalanced output. So you can easily differentiate between the balanced and the unbalanced output. Hope you understand this. And so this is all about this. I'm just removing all this. Next is the label translator. This is the last one, label translator. Output stage I will not discuss here. This is a push pull amplifier configuration. Okay, so label shifter stage, label shifting circuit is actually used in the context of the direct coupling. So label shifting, happens in the case of the direct coupling. Now understand the meaning of the direct coupling, and then you can easily understand why the label shifting stage is being employed here. So direct coupling means, suppose there is a first stage of the amplification. So this is, I'm just removing again all this. So in this diagram you can easily identify, this is the first stage of the amplifier, this is the second stage of the amplifier. Now the first stage of the amplifier and the second stage of the amplifier, if the output of the first stage is passed or becomes the input of the second stage. Now in the case of the direct coupling, what happens actually, that there is no interconnecting device between these. It is directly connected with the help of the resistance or with the help of a simple wire, or with the help of resistor. The output of the first stage is connected to the input to the second stage with the help of a simple wire or simple resistor. No other device is being employed between this connection. If this is happens, then we call a direct coupling. Now there are some of the advantages also and some of the disadvantages also in the case of the direct coupling. Now the advantages is that there is no other device is employed, because we are fabricating this circuit inside a chip. Now if we employed, all of you know that if this is one amplifier stage, this is second amplifier stage, generally we connect a capacitor. This is called the coupling capacitor between these two to block the DC to pass from first stage to the second stage. So that is the function of this coupling capacitor. But in the case of the direct coupling, what happens, we are just connecting with the help of a simple wire or directly with the help of a wire. So there is no coupling capacitor present here. So advantage, just understand the difference. Okay, first understand the difference. So this is a coupling device present. The coupling device is the capacitor or maybe the inductor, but here no coupling device is present. That's why it is called the direct coupling. It is connected with the help of the wire. So advantages is that as we are fabricating the op-amp inside a chip, okay, so smaller component or less number of components is advantageous. Okay, if we can design the op-amp with the help of a less number of components. If we employ the capacitor between the every stage, so the number of component increases. As the number of component increases, the fabrication cost also increases and the size of the chip is also increases. So that is the two disadvantages of the coupling capacitor. If you employ the coupling capacitor, there is two disadvantages. Okay, and also the advantages of the direct coupling. That is one advantage, but there is also dark side also. Dark side is that's why we employ the label shifting circuit. So capacitor is actually, if we want to fabricate the capacitor inside a chip, okay, inside the integrated circuit, then the size of this chip is obviously increases, because if we want to design a large value of the capacitor like 10 microfarad or like that, then you have no other option but size. So size is a constant. If you want to increase the value of the capacitor, you require more space. You cannot just compromise with this. Okay, so if you want to design a capacitor inside the integrated circuit, you require space, but if you want to eliminate the capacitor, then the size is preserved or size is reduced. So that's why we don't employ any kind of capacitor here. Okay, now the disadvantages of the direct coupling. So disadvantages is that as we don't employ the capacitor between the two stages of the amplifier, then what happens, the DC is not blocked, so DC from the first stage as well as AC pass to the second stage. Just understand, the DC from the first stage output is passed to the second stage. Now what are the advantage and disadvantage also if we want to pass the DC from the first stage to the second stage? Okay, now from the time being you understand that the DC from the first stage is passed to the DC to the second stage. Now what is the meaning? Now in the transistor context, you know that there is output characteristics, something looks like this, and there is a Q point associated is there, and this Q point must be lies into the active region. So this is your active region, this is your saturation region, this is your cutoff region. Now this is in the transistor circuit, in the input all of you know that there is a DC plus there is a AC. Now this DC is used for biasing, AC is used for amplification purpose. Now this is called the signal. Now after amplification, I have said that the DC is also passed to the second stage. Now in the second stage of the amplifier, what happens? If this second stage of the amplifier, there is a proper biasing arrangement is there. Now if you want to pass the DC from the first stage to the second stage, now the DC biasing of the second stage will also disturb. So that will shift the Q point or towards the saturation or towards the cutoff. Okay, because we are passing the DC from the first stage to the second stage, so that's why DC biasing to the second stage will also be disturbed, and from the first stage this DC going to the second stage, and this hampers the biasing of the second stage of the amplifier. So this second amplifier bias transistor will go into the cutoff or saturation depending on to the strength of the DC passed to the first stage to the second stage. Now if the Q point is shifting, your whole transistor action will be jeopardized. Okay, because if the Q point shifting towards the saturation, some of the signal will be clipped off, so that will not a desirable property of the amplifier. So that's why level translator is used. Just understand, don't understand the circuit, what is the level translator circuit look like, just understand the concept. Okay, because why we employ the level translator? So level translator is actually used, this DC whatever passed from the first stage to the second stage, we bring back this DC to the zero level, so that there is no hampering of the DC that is going to pass from the first stage to the second stage, and that DC is going to disturb the second stage biasing. We are, with the help of the level translator, what we are doing, we are bring back the DC that has passed from second stage to the first stage to the second stage to the 0 volt level with the help of the circuit, some sort of arrangement circuit is there. So there is no problem. So second stage amplifier is no biasing problem, because we bring back the DC that has been passed to the 0 level. So that is the advantage of the that's why we have employed the level shifting circuit. And the output stage is nothing but a push-pull amplifier configuration that we will discuss later. So hope you understand the input stage, the intermediate stage, the level shifting stage, why we employ the level shifting stage, that is very important, and the output stage. Output stage we have not discussed broadly here, we will discuss it later. Okay, the output stage is nothing but a push-pull amplifier configuration circuit. Okay, so next, the actual diagram. Okay, the actual construction. I have said that inside the every block there is a transistorized circuit, that you will just look into this diagram. So here is the circuit that I have drawn here. So this is a difference amplifier arrangement. The two input is there, this is non-inverting input, this is inverting input coming from here, and also this is one input transistor, and the two output, this is output 1, this is output 2, both output has been employed and passed to the second stage. You can see there is a second stage is there. Okay, and there is no coupling capacitor is employed between these two. You cannot see any kind of capacitor here, so there is, so that's why this is called the direct coupling. And between these two there is also a level translator. This is the level translator used for bring back the DC level to 0 volt, and this is a push-pull amplifier configuration circuit. So, and also the this is minus VV and this is plus VCC. These two are used for the biasing of the. So this is the actual construction of the op amp. In the actual construction you can see the input stage, I have said that the input stage, both these stage is composed of transistorized circuit. So this is the input stage. In the input stage there is one input, that is the non-inverting input, inverting input. Okay, this is the two input and this is the two input that is been the two output that has been passed to the second stage. As there is two output is being employed, that's why it is called the dual input and balanced output stage. And you can see in this from the second stage, now there is one output is there, there is second output is there, but we have only taking the second output, so that's why this stage is called the unbalanced output stage. Okay, hope you understand this, why we call the input stage as balanced output and why the second stage or the intermediate stage as unbalanced output. And this is also the level shifter or level translator used for the bring back the transistor DC level to 0 volt. Okay, and one more thing, this output stage push pull complementary amplifier that we have not discussed here. And the last one, that's minus VEN plus VCC, these are the two supply voltage used for biasing purpose of the transistor. Okay, and this is all about this. And for the ideal mathematical model or the ideal op-amp case, in the case of the ideal op-amp, what happens, this is the ideal op-amp circuit. Voltage amplifier, we have in the case of the voltage amplifier, the proper value of the voltage amplifier input resistance is infinite and the output resistance is 0. So that's why we have sorted the output resistance. There is no output resistance is there, but previously there is output resistance here, but now there is no output resistance here. And also the JD in here is infinite, no wire is connected between these two. So there is an ideal op-amp approximation, and there is one input, there is second input. As there is an infinite input resistance exists between the two input of the op-amp, the ideal current drawn between in the op-amp is 0. Okay, and V out is taken from here, and the ideal op-amp gain is infinite. But in the practical case, not the ideal op-amp gain is infinite, it is actually finite. And this Zn is not infinite, it is a very high value and Z out is a very low value. Okay, so that is the practical op-amp configuration. So input resistance is very high, output resistance is very low. Okay, and the transfer characteristics, is also important. What do you mean by the transfer characteristics? This is the transfer characteristics. Now I'm just removing this. In the transfer characteristics, you can see the plot is between, I'm removing all this. Transfer characteristics is a plot between the output and the input of the any device or any circuit. So this is the input of the op-amp, this is the output of the op-amp. Now suppose the input and the op-amp is a linear circuit. Okay, so this is the linear region, and okay, this is the plus supply voltage that is supplied by this plus VCC and minus VE minus 12 volt. So this is the linear region of the op-amp. Okay, now what happens, I have said that the output of the op-amp is nothing but A into VD, difference between the voltage. Now suppose your gain is 9 and your difference between this voltage is 2 volt. So if anyone asks you what will be the output voltage, in that case you might say it is the 18 volt, but it is not true, because your supply voltage is limited to plus 12 or minus 12, your output cannot exceed plus 12 or minus 12. So whatever operation you want to perform, that is limited to plus 12 and minus 12, and these two voltage is also called the plus B saturation and also minus B saturation. So that is the limitation of the op-amp, you cannot exceed your output voltage more than 12 volt. Okay, and this is the linear region, all of the operation of the op-amp is limited to this linear region. So that is all about the transfer characteristics. There is a small linear region exists in the op-amp, which is obviously undesirable, but you cannot eliminate this, because your gain of the op-amp is though very high, but you cannot gain efficiently the signal beyond the 12 volt. Okay, so that is the main disadvantage. Op-amp is a very good amplifier, but you cannot get a very high amount of voltage out of the op-amp, because it is limited to plus 12 and minus 12. For that purpose you need the power amplifier. Okay, so that is all about the characteristics. Input stage, that is the dual input balanced output differential amplifier. Intermediate stage, dual input unbalanced output differential amplifier. And level translator stage, DC level bring back to 0, that is the function. Output stage, that I have not discussed, push pull complementary amplifier. And the ideal op-amp, no current actually drawn by the op-amp, because the input resistance is infinite. gain is infinite, output distance is 0, and V0 here cannot exceed plus 12 or minus 12, exceed the supply voltage, and the linear region is op amp is very small. Hope you understand all this concept, and I recommend to explore it more and study from any textbook. Thank you.